So I am Zedrouh Reich, and I work with the ancient beings of the light. And this is a vast group of just amazing love and light beings who also include the archangels and the ascended masters, many beings from worlds beyond anything we know. And I was 50 when I even knew about energy work. I had left ES and had gone into massage therapy school. And that was where I learned about energy and actually realized that that's what I had been doing a lot of my life anyway. But I would never have called myself a singer. I always saw my brother as the singer rather than me. And as my gifts came in about when I was 53, back in 2003, then it was an amazing transformation that happened. I had been in a marriage for about 9 years, and I was way overweight. I was not really fulfilling things that in myself, right? So my gifts started coming in. It was just this amazing thing. Oh my gosh. All of a sudden, I was singing. And I was singing in a language that I didn't know, and they were working with me. I was a massage therapist, and they were working with me in such a way that my body became very lean and very strong. And all of the things that I had been carrying, which had at one point been self-loathing, but then that miracle had happened, back in mid-90s, where one day I went to bed with it, and the next day I woke up without it. And all of these changes that come along for all of us, not just for me, but come along for us, and sometimes we don't realize it until we look back and go, oh, that was a time this happened. Well, for me, they would use my voice, and one of the things they would do is like having me make sound, and they would come down, and like it would hit a certain area of my body, and it would just hold there, and the note would kind of flatten. And then it would come up again into a true note, and then they would move on. So I was able to see kind of like how that worked. But it was still, and it has always been me just following what is given, whether it's through intuitive body work or the sounds and the songs, the messages that come through. It's always about just allowing that to move and move me through things. So one of the things that they told me about almost from the beginning was that I bring in, from the light beyond all light, I bring in a kind of healing that's called the Enzanic energies of divine healing. And they said at that time, this is about truths. If you look at how truths come in a little bit at a time until we can understand the bigger truths. So when they were first talking about it, they would talk about how it was like a little Pac-Man. When I would sing, the light would go in like a light implant, and then it would be like a little Pac-Man going around kind of gobbling up the things that are not serving you. So then as time went by, and I was writing a lot, and they were talking about how what they actually do is something quite more magnificent to me. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I was reading back through some of the stuff they'd gotten, and it really stuck this time as to what it is. And that's why this is called expanding your perfection. Many of us go through our times of perfectionism But in perfectionism, we're really looking for fault. We're looking for something that's wrong, rather than looking for that which is right and building on that. So in this, how they expressed it to me is that it does go in as that light, and it does seek out within the cells those things that do not serve us. The darkness within cells, which could be outdated belief systems, those things that we were told when we were younger, what we were told, or how we lived in another lifetime. All of those things that don't serve us any longer. Well, when they come in with that, what they do is they find the perfection within that cell, and they expand on that perfection. And it's really a way for us to look at life in general, because as we look at what is right in any situation, rather than merely looking at what is wrong in any situation, and we expand on what is right, we don't have to actually do to what is wrong anything, but what we do is allow the light to totally change it. So when I sing and when I bring messages in, it really is always about that expansion of perfection. And it helps us in a lot of ways. There are two ways that, I would say, of the main things that my work does. And I could go into how it can help the body feel better, it can do all these things, but there are two really fundamental things. Number one is that it takes you into sacred self-love. Because sacred self-love is truly the foundation of all light in our lives. As we come into really owning who we are as a divine being of light, yes, we have those imperfections, but if we look at who we are and we love who we are, those imperfections actually can begin to fall away, and we become more and more perfect cell by cell as this happens. The foundation of sacred self-love is vital in all things. And that is, even in my group work, it's working with people in that way, and working with the world as a whole in that way. For every act of violence, there is a need for sacred self-love, because only goodness can come from those acts. So that's one of the things. The other thing is actually increasing our levels of truth, stepping into higher and higher levels of truth. Now, that's not my truth for you. It's whatever your truth would be and what your next truth would be. And you can look back at your life and you can see where you kind of lived your life by this basic belief system, or even something about yourself. And you actually live that life. It's not just something that's on a shelf, but it's actually in action in your life. So when you increase your vibration, when the perfection floods into your cells and then expands on the perfection that is there, then you're able to start stair-stepping into higher and higher truths, increasing your vibration all the way, loving yourself in a greater and greater way. So what does sound have to do with that? And we are exposed to sound everywhere, all the time. If you think about music in any way, sound that you make, any sound, it has a vibration. And the higher the vibration, then the greater it's going to lift you. And allow those truths that you've lived by that no longer serve you to fall away. And allow those truths that lift you in love. So there are things about this that I really love, and I have a group that has been meeting on Wednesday nights. We're looking for a new place and maybe even a new day, but we have really been working with the sacred self-love and really exploring that your heart actually, that every cell has a heart. And if you think about that in such an incredible way, if every cell has a heart, and that cell connects to your high heart, your sacred heart, and that heart connects to your highest, truest self, the heart of your highest, truest self, and on into the very heart of God, What an amazing thing, because you've got like billions of hearts then within you that are all working to bring you into the greatest love and greatest light. So here's one of the things that they said. For every cell within your body ignites through that love. And when you whisper to yourself, as whispers of love, an entity I work with does, and you listen to the words that are whispered, and you allow each cell within your physical body to know these words as light and truth, can you imagine the new pathways of love and light that are engendered within your physical frame? Can you imagine as the heart of each cell ignites in love, releasing any molecule, any shred of fear, and instead embraces love? Can you imagine what your physical body does? Because what is the opposite of love? It's fear. So the more we drop away those things that engender fear and we cling to those things that bring us greater love, pretty soon all of the fear has dropped away and we are only love. It's a miraculous thing, for we see, as the beings who are channeling, we see each cell within your physical self, and we see those cells that hold perfection and hold also distortion. And we move into those cells, and we speak in the most loving way through our light into those cells, into that perfection of those cells, and we expand and expand and expand the perfection. And what would you think that perfection is made of? That might be the tough question I actually have. What do you think that perfection is made of that is in every cell of your body? It's love. It's love. And as each cell lights up fully in love, it takes you into an entirely different realm of experience and existence. So the sounds that I bring in come in the language of light, in fact in a number of dialects in the language of light. So when I sing, it can be different words. I mean, first of all, it won't be a language that you know, but it is a language of vibration. And so as I sing, my beings and your beings are all working together to help bring the exact frequencies of sound. It's like a very complex mathematical equation as to what is the exact sound that you need in this time. And they also come in and they bring messages to you as well. And the messages are always about expanding love and how, for you, in your particular situation, how to bring forth greater love within yourself, greater healing, greater love. So let's just for a moment work with a little heart expansion. As our hearts close up, we want them to be wide open. A heart that is filled with love and is fully open cannot be hurt. We talk about broken hearts, but when we live in the truth of the perfection of love, then we see everything from a much higher perspective, and we do not take as personal those things that are not about us. And we raise our own vibration through that, but we also raise the vibration of those who are around us and who are ready to receive through our own grace. So if you could just for a moment close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and we're going to call fully into this space your divine beings of light who work with you at every level of light, as well as mine. And as I make sound, I want you to focus fully upon your beautiful heart and how that beautiful heart is just exploding with love. And could you feel your heart expanding with that? It's something for you to focus on. Even if you couldn't, that's an appropriate answer as well. But it's a way for you also to make change within your life. And that's focusing on, we're not talking about the beating heart, which is a lovely thing, and we really rely on that a lot. But we're talking about that sacred heart, which is really expands well beyond your physical body, and how the perfection that lies within that heart, and it responds to sound and sends that out throughout your body. So my suggestion is for you to find music that you love, that uplifts you, that makes you feel joyous, that makes you feel peaceful, that encourages you into those zones that you really want to live in. And I hope that you will use your voice as well, without judgment, allowing your guides to work through you and bring forth sound. And if you think about it as bringing forth sound, rather than necessarily singing, then you're able to really connect with your heart and connect with your voice in a very sacred way. Now, I have a workshop that's coming up, called the Sacred Sounds of the Heart Workshop, and that's just what we do. I actually channel your Sacred Heart name for you, so you have that name that you can always like call on that. And then during this, and it's usually a group of 8 to 15 people, then we work with step by step, bringing the song that's within your heart. And when I say song, again, I'm talking sound, and allowing that to come through. And it's within a very trusting circle. Messages will come for you. It's just a great way for you to make that deep connection into the heart, and then continue that heart opening through the sound as well. In my own private practice, it's really very powerfully the sound, the movement of the energies with mudras and the energy that comes through my hands. And it's also bringing in those messages of love that are most needed in that time. So if you want to experience a little bit of that, today I have my table over just in the corner towards the bathroom, and it's $25 for 15 minutes. It's $40 for 30 minutes. And then I also have some really beautiful things that have been attuned. I have water that's been attuned through a sacred ceremony into sacred self-love, joy, peace, forgiveness, different vibrations that help you make your shift. And I also have a couple of CDs, a few CDs that are really about helping you to move into your multidimensional self, also expanding your heart through the soul and your soul through the heart. So that's another way of really connecting through sound, bringing that perfection in to join with your perfection. Because what is perfection? What is light? What is perfection? It's love. And the more we love, and love is not being a doormat. Love is definitely not about allowing other people to behave towards you in a way that is not loving and kind and responsible and all of that. It's about expanding your own very firm foundation of sacred self-love. Yeah. It's such an incredible thing. You know, for me, that's especially my strongest message, because I have lived through blaming myself for everything that had nothing to do with me whatsoever, and really coming into a point of self-loathing, and then living with that for a while, and then feeling that God, but still not loathing yourself is not necessarily loving yourself either. That's kind of a neutral zone. But then when you move into that space of love and compassion for yourself, then it's just really miraculous. And as you live your life and you make your choices based on what really makes you feel love and feel loved, then your life changes. It's an amazing thing. And when you live that life, then you actually reflect that out to everyone, and you give them permission to live in the same way. And it's just like magic how that can happen. So I hope you'll come over and at least sign up for my mailing list. Where do you live?
We all live in Weatherford.
Oh, okay. That's a wonderful town.
Mother, daughter, granddaughter.
I love this. This is so great. This is so great. It's beautiful.
We were just talking about this on the way over here, about killing people with kindness and love.
Yeah, it is true that. It is, okay, let me say, it is about standing in the love of self first.
Mm-hmm.
And when you stand in that frame of love for self, that sets boundaries that don't allow those things that are unkind.
You learn that in therapy too.
Yeah.
You've got to love yourself before you can love anybody else.
Exactly. And when you step into that, actually you'll find that those who would abuse you in whatever way drop away from your life because they're not drawn to you anymore. Or they step into the light. Mm-hmm. They see the light of you. They step into the light. And then their life changes as well. So either way, that being who was abusing you is no longer in your life. So it's a very precious thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't learn it too young, by the way. It's something you can't learn too young. So many blessings,
Thank
many,
you.
many blessings, and I
Thank
hope
you.
you'll stop by and see me.
Ciao.